introduce David Kay. David provides leadership at Cornell University's Community and Regional Development Institute, or Cornell CARDI, for research and programming around areas like energy, land use, community decision-making, and economic development. David's going to be speaking about some of the research that Cornell has done on renewable energy development and farmland, as well as the landscape of solar and wind development in New York. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you. Last time I gave a talk, my daughter, who's now a graduate student, was sitting in the back of the room going like this to me about whether I was too loud or too soft. So I'm inviting all you to do that for me. Usually I don't use a mic and I'm plenty loud, but I may be too loud. So yeah, I'm going to pick up in a daunting place following not only one but many of the leading thinkers in this space. I'll try and create primarily some context for you, broader context, picking up a little bit on the state energy plan and those kinds of issues, and then talk a little bit about some of the work we've been doing. And let's see if I can get this to work. All right, I'm not going to say hardly anything. Other people know a lot more than I do about the New York State's policies and experience with solar panels on farms that serve farmers' needs, except that there are rules about, like in Massachusetts, the maximum amount of energy you can generate for on-farm use, essentially. But there is some guidance out there about this. Next, I'm going to focus a little bit on residential solar. There's been we have a lot more experience with residential than we do with larger scale solar, and these two maps disappear entirely if you do that. I don't know if you can see, I know this is a very small screen, but basically what you're going to see here is on the top is already completed as of the latest data, and on the bottom is solar in the pipeline. And really the story of this map is that, not surprisingly, residential solar is concentrated where people are concentrated, with a few exceptions, one of them being where I live in Tompkins County, because we're very, very pro-solar. Here's a similar story for non-residential projects. This is showing capacity installed, by the way, where it's concentrated. So non-residential, these are all relatively small-scale solar projects still, but residential solar, non-residential solar, both already completed and in the pipeline, is scattered in I would say in a way that doesn't follow as closely where population centers are. Also, probably not surprising. Here's kind of some summary information about that, which again you probably can't read. And I guess it's not animated either, but so try and remember 1.9 megawatts, 1.9 gigawatts. Gigawatt is 1,000 megawatts, megawatt is 1,000 kilowatts, for those who don't know that. But these add up, depending on what you're counting, to roughly, let's say, 1.5 to 2 gigawatts of installed capacity. The reason that's important to remember is to compare it to where we say we're going, okay? In summary, I just say, hey, there are a lot of small projects at this scale that have been done in New York. We have a lot of experience with them. If you include what's in the pipeline, we might have approximately 3 gigawatts here or on the way. Now I'm going to shift gears and look at larger scale projects that are in the queue to integrate into the grid as sort of they're not really utilities, but they're kind of like functioning a lot more like utilities and get different pricing incentives and so on. So this is all data that comes out of the ISO Q information and other sources of public information. But to go back to what I think Carol was talking about, there are some specific goals in the new Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act plan. 6 gigawatts of solar by 25, 9 gigawatts offshore wind by 2035, 3 gigawatts of storage by 2030. In a sense, the good news that I would take out of this, and again, I'm sure you can't really see all of the specifics, but the good news, which is highlighted in red there, is that in the pipeline with solar, which is what I'm going to focus on, and actually with these other sources of renewables, there is more than enough capacity to meet those goals in the pipeline already. So what does that mean? In the pipeline. By the way, there's a little bit, in the renewable space, there's a little bit of other kinds of, there are a few other projects that are in the queue as well. I'm going to show some maps. Here are a few maps. The first one is kind of showing, if you can see this, the yellow parts of the bar are solar. The blue parts of the bar are wind. And again, this is nameplate capacity, sort of in theory, how much these facilities could generate. And then energy storage is the green. And I just kind of drew those very crude-looking circles around it because what you're going to see, where is all of the big solar capacity? Western and northern New York. Where is most of the wind? Sort of south in Long Island, New York City area. By the way, a lot of that wind is offshore capacity that's showing up in some of those places. Anybody know how, in this kind of large-scale capacity, anybody know how much large-scale solar has been permitted? Yeah? 0 megawatts. None of it's gone through the process yet. So think about that. There has been wind, of course. How much offshore wind in New York? 0. So that should tell you something about where we are and where we're trying to go. And think about the deadlines that we're on, too, in terms of timing. And think about how much fun you've had the last time you went through an uncertain regulatory process. So for the larger projects above 25 megawatts go through a statewide siting board. There's a big story interesting there, which I won't tell. It has a bunch of different steps in it. There's 16 projects in step 1, which is sort of public involvement. There are 9 projects. This is solar only I'm talking about, by the way, solar only. 9 projects in preliminary scoping stages, and 5 projects with applications submitted. Whoops. Oh, yeah. It's supposed to show you that there are 3 more stages. 3 more stages that we haven't got to yet. All right, I'm going to hurry up. This is just another version of the same one I showed earlier without the wind in it, just to show you more where the solar is. This is like a close-up. Now, the different thing here is what have I added? I've added New York State agricultural district boundaries in the background, green. So this is Wyoming, Genesee, Livingston, Monroe County, where there's a lot of action. And what you're seeing here is, well, there's a lot of land and agricultural districts in these areas. Okay, that's basically what you're seeing. And there's some scaling kinds of numbers there you can look at later. Here's one of those projects. The outline of the project is this purple stuff. Everything in green inside is not only in an ag district, it's prime farmland. That's the same thing on the right, but here on the left are some people talking about some local elected officials unhappy about the siting process as it's evolved so far. I won't go into why right now. If you look around the country, there's a lot of, this is not going to be another thing hard to believe, but we've heard a little bit in the room, not everybody thinks the same way about exactly what this balance we're talking about should look like. So that leads to what? Controversy in public decision making all over the place. So one little kind of takeaway that isn't quite explicit in there, but I just want to emphasize is that there are a lot of incentives to go big with solar for developers and for the state. And when we're talking about big, we're not talking about, we're talking about thousands of acres, not dozens of acres. And think from a developer's perspective in particular, where is that land available? Contiguous. Yeah, it's not going to be in Manhattan, I can tell you that. So there's some upstate, downstate, rural, urban issues that have to be worked out here. I'm going to super quickly, and you can just give me that with a minute, go through my colleague Jennifer F's slides. She's one of my colleagues who's an economist. She's kind of arrayed, from left to right where her judgment is state policies. We have a little paper out this that I think was the link was sent out to, sort of how permissive they are in relation to solar. I won't go into that. She has some highlights some policy options that are used typically related tax penalties for conversion. We heard a little bit about that earlier. Different kinds of permitting processes. Others could talk about that more. And various kinds of incentives, including what she calls a tiebreaker, which is really, in her opinion, in New York State, there's a very mild disincentive in policy for putting it on farmland. So like if all else equal, you'd rather not put it on farmland, it's probably not going to go on farmland if the regulators would rather not have it go there. We're doing a lot of different kinds of work. One of my colleagues, Peter Woodbury over there, is working on some other projects at Cornell, which I would encourage you to talk to him about later. But almost everything you've heard about from Jordan and others, somebody at Cornell is interested in or working on. And of course, if we had more money, we'd be doing more work. I'll skip this one. Just Jenny did a lot of work in the past about oil and gas revenues to farmers and sort of what difference that made around the country. And I guess the big overall, some people obviously it's life-changing, plus and minus. For most people, no big deal. That's kind of one of the things she said. These are things where we think we need more research. We have a paper out about this. And finally, she just kind of ends with the thing we're all talking about, which is like, how are we going to thread the needle? Can we have our solar energy and literally eat it too?